The Eagles are about to take on our old friends, the Minnesota Vikings. When I say old friends, there's a lot of different layers to that. Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is. Covering news, notes, and opinions on your favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, right here on the Eagles Pinpoll Podcast Network. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. You can also find me hosting Trending in the AM Monday through Friday on the STT Sports Network, live at 8 o'clock, talking 90 minutes of Philadelphia sports and whatever's trending. So bring your thoughts and opinions on from what you hear here over to there. I got today's episode linked below. Make sure you check it out. Would greatly appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll also do a Eagles watch party Sunday right at 1 o'clock for the entirety of the Eagles-Vikings game. So you're going to want to come hang out, crack some beers, and have a good time with me, overreacting to every minute detail of the Eagles-Vikings game. But it is Friday. It is time to make my final preview and prediction, and I'm really torn on this Eagles game versus the Vikings. We've heard all good things from practice this week, all good things from the coaches and players. Everybody's focused. Everybody's ready to get back at it this week, but there's still so much that to take into account here. And first and foremost, the Minnesota Vikings, they are our old friends. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the fact that we beat them to get to our first Super Bowl championship in 2017. What I'm talking about is the fact that it's not just the Carson Wentz revenge game. It's the Carson Wentz revenge game. It's the Isaiah Rodgers revenge game. I kind of forgot until about 5 minutes ago, the Javon Hargrave revenge game as well. So there's a lot of former Eagles talent on this Vikings team. And earlier this week, Ed Kratz from Sports Illustrated talked about how the Eagles did make a push and want to re-sign Isaiah Rodgers. Isaiah Rodgers on social media countered that and said no, and kind of said that it's not all that the reporters are saying there. So who knows? So who are we facing with the Minnesota Vikings? We're facing a team that is coming off their bye week. They're coming off before the bye week, 2 straight weeks overseas playing those games over there. You're talking about a team that take out their 48-point victory over the Cincinnati Bengals is averaging less than 18 points a game offensively. But we're also talking about a team that's only given up 24 points or less in all the games defensively. You're going up against a team that doesn't have their young, rising quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. He was limited again in practice on Thursday. Carson Wentz practiced in full. Our former friend Carson Wentz will be the starting quarterback, it seems. So you're going up against a guy, Carson Wentz. In his 3 starts this year, he's got 69% completion, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions thrown, but been sacked 12 times in those 3 games. We know he's a statue. We know he crumbles under pressure. We know he will make mistakes. But we also know he can easily drop a 250, 300-yard game against us, kind of to rub it in, but also kind of to, continue to make a point that he's still got some life left in him as a quarterback in the NFL. So you also got Isaiah Rodgers, who is having a hell of a season there in Minnesota starting. He already has 2 touchdowns on defense, an interception return, and a fumble recovery. And Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator, will be a head coach probably next year in the NFL. So this team is loaded with interesting little things and little nuggets and theories. You look at their 3 wins, the Vikings. They beat Chicago on the road opening week. And if you know my stuff, I'm not a big Caleb Williams and Chicago believer. I don't think that's much of a win. They obviously smoked the Bengals minus Joe Burrow. And they beat the Browns, who we know, they're not a good football team. They lost to the Falcons, who are a rising young football team. And they lost to the Steelers, also overseas, who are surprising all of us right now. So it's like their season so far has been a mixed bag of trips. You've got, 3 games started by one quarterback, 2 by another. And I don't know what to expect. But what you do is you look at the Eagles practice report from Thursday. Grant Kekotair is probably not going to play. He was a non-participant again with the oblique injury. Jalen Carter went from full participant to limited, probably just maintenance with that heel. Landon Dickerson with his ankle, still a limited participant. Zach Ball and Jordan Davis and Quinyon Mitchell, full participant with his hamstring. So it looks like we might be getting Quinyon Mitchell back, because to beat the Vikings, you're not going to stop Justin Jefferson, arguably one of the best quarterbacks or wide receivers in football. You got to hope to contain him. You got to keep him out of the end zone. You got to keep him away from those 40, 50, 60-yard bombs down the field. That's what you got to do. And can they do that? Can Quinyon Mitchell, if he's at 80%, 85%, slow down and lock up Justin Jefferson? He's done that before, not Justin Jefferson. I just, in general, being able to hold down the elite of the elite wide receivers. Without Quinyon Mitchell going, you'd be left with a Dory Jackson or Keely Ringo on him. But right now, you've got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper Dejean. Side note with Cooper Dejean, Adam Thielen's back with the Minnesota Vikings this year. Coop was burned by Thielen out of the slot last year with the Carolina Panthers. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. Did Coop learn his lesson from the wily veteran in Adam Thielen or not? We'll see. But it looks like we're trending to have a majority, if not all of our players ready to go, at least that are healthy or slightly back, not the non-IR guys, basically. Next week, we can get some more guys back as Jakarian Bennett, Darius Cooper, and Nolan Smith are all eligible to come off. We don't expect Nolan Smith to come off of IR next week, but some of those other guys might be back next week. It's going to be a week to see what happens on the edge. Will they play Nakobe Dean at linebacker and move Jihaad Campbell to the outside? It's going to be a big question. It's going to be a big, interesting thing, and I do expect Dory Jackson to start over Keely Ringo on Sunday. So how does it play out? What happens? I wrote down all these scores, and I always do this. I write down throughout the week multiple score predictions, and I try to settle. I'm honestly right now, Thursday night, a little after 7 p.m., I don't have a set thing. I want to say that we're going to blow the Vikings out, something like 37-17, 33-21. But then you look at the defense, and you know they don't give up a lot of points. And then I even put a prediction that the Vikings are going to beat us 31-21. But they don't score enough points for that. You take out the 48-pointer, and they're averaging like 17.5 points a game. And it sounds like such a cliche score prediction. Either they're going to win 37-17, the Eagles, or they're going to win a close one, 24-20. And I kind of lean that way. The line is still Eagles minus 1.5. The over-under's 43.5. It hasn't really moved this week, the lines. I'm telling you, I think we're in for – this is a week that we have to win. We have to look good. We have to play a complete 60 minutes of football. But I don't know necessarily if this is the defense that you're going to go out there and put a 37-burger up on. It's going to be very tough to do. Right now, Thursday night while I'm recording this, I'm leaning 24-20 Eagles. By tomorrow morning on Trending in the AM, I might change that. By Sunday before the watch party, I may change that again. It's going to be a warm October Sunday in Philadelphia. It's going to be 73. No rain till later at night. Going to be rocking their white jerseys with green pants. For you jersey enthusiasts and uniform enthusiasts out there. I don't know. I'm going to stick to 24-20 right now, but TBA, whether I change that, or TBD, whether I change that or not going forward this weekend. Right now, I do think the Eagles will get the win. The Eagles are not going to lose 3 in a row. Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts is not going to allow that. So we're going to stick to 24-20 now, but we may make it a bigger blowout as the weekend goes on and we get closer to kickoff. But we'll be back on Monday with our recap of the game. But for now, everybody have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Make sure you tune in to STT Sports Network. Link below, guys. Go Birds. And bubbles up.